Hey guys, Marisa at KitchenTableStamper.com. I have got a fun fold for you today. It was our coffee and a mystery card. I am so excited to share this one with you because it features the Timeless Charm bundle. The Timeless Charm bundle is an online exclusive that will be available for customers July 1st. If you want to get your hands on it right now and you missed free shipping yesterday, you can join Stampin' Up! For $99. Choose $155 worth of product of your choice, including the July online exclusive pre-order items. You can get Timeless Charm in your starter kit with $155 worth of other stuff for $99, and starter kits always ship free. So if you've ever thought about joining Stampin' Up!, now is a great time. The additional products, there's $30 additional products. Normally our starter kit is $125. That starter kit bonus is good through the end of this month, June 2023. All right, so let's take a look at the card that we're going to make with our Timeless Charm bundle. Oh, by the way, take a look at those dies. Aren't they lovely? I love the size of the Timeless Charm. We've had some botanicals and florals that have just been really kind of large scale. So I'm happy to have these kind of petite. And our fun fold card, wishing you a little extra happiness just because you're you. All right, so happy birthday, my dear friend. Wishing you a little extra happiness just because you're you. And then inside, love you much. And there's a little pocket for a gift card. All right, let's get started. Our designer series paper is from the Masterfully Made 12 by 12 designer series paper pack, and we're using Fresh Freesia cardstock. So we have our card bases here. This is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, so standard card base. This one is 4 by 5 1/4 and scored at 3 1/4. So there's our little petite card. Our designer series paper is 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to wallpaper the front of our card here with this piece. Now there's a little text in there, and I do want to make sure that even though it's hard to read, that it is oriented up. All right, so there it is. Now for our little card here, we have 3 by 3 3/4, and this one is going to go inside the little card. Again, we've got more text, making sure that it's right side up. And then we have 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. Let's check that text. And we're gonna pop that on the front of our little card. So it's got a little offset front. And we're going to hide the inside sentiment with the outside element. So we're gonna add some glue on the back of our little card and then just pop it center right on our big card. Now the element of our card here, the kind of fun element, is on the cover here. You can see that the outside element hides the inside element. Pretty cool, right? So we have 2 3/8 inch circles here. I have one that was punched from Basic White and one from Fresh Freesia, and we did that using the 2 3/8 inch circle punch. Pretty awesome new tool, very handy. Let's do a little stamping on those. I'm gonna grab some Fresh Freesia ink and some pretty peacock ink. My sentiment is from the Pansy Patch stamp set. I liked the two fonts together. I don't know that they're a perfect match, Timeless Charm and Pansy Patch, but pretty close. They definitely can be mixed and matched. All right, Pansy Patch is photopolymer, so let's grab a Stampin' Pierce mat here. And we're going to do wishing you a little extra happiness just because you're you. Just center that. And on our Fresh Freesia, we're going to do a little watercolor swatch. So you see that Timeless Charm has these distinctive watercolor swatches. And we're gonna do this big one with Fresh Freesia on Fresh Freesia. And it'll give us a little bit of pop, a little bit of texture in the background. let's slide these aside. And while we've got ink out, let's do a little bit more stamping. I've got some basic white cardstock here and Pretty Peacock. We're going to stamp ourselves a couple of sprigs. Got one that's kind of wide leaves and straight. We're going to stamp that one in Berry Burst. And then I've got one here that's kind of pointy, narrow leaves and suede. We're going to do that one in Pretty Peacock. And one more thing while we've got the ink pads all open and out here. All right, so for the inside of my card, I've got a deckled rectangle, and I haven't made a chart for this one yet, so I'm just going to show you the set here. They're nesting rectangles with a decal edge, and this is the second largest one, cut from basic white. I'm going to slide this aside. We can let that dry a minute until we die cut it. We're going to take Love You Much, also from the Pansy Patch stamp set. We're going to stamp that just a little bit high of center. So good. Now our outside sentiment. We've got 1/2 by 3 inches. This is the Lost Lagoon cardstock. I'm really loving this color. We're going to do Happy Birthday, My Dear. And we're going to do color buddies. So we've got Lost Lagoon cardstock. We're going to do Pretty Peacock for our sentiment. I love sentiments that are stamped in color on colored cardstock. And it's one of those things that I have to challenge myself to do. I always forget that it's an option. And so this one looks really cool. All right, we've got a Happy Birthday, My Dear. Yeah, that one's more crisp. All right, remember there's 2 sides to every paper. I'm going to grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and we are going to cut some of these amazing botanicals using the Timeless Charm bundle. All right, we're all set up for die cutting here. Got 1, 2, 3, and our cardstock. So we got kind of a flowery sprig. We're going to put that on the Pretty Peacock. And we've got a stem of flowers. We're going to have to run this one twice. We need it in white and in Pretty Peacock. And then we've got our stamped botanicals to cut out. Okay, let's give it a crank. And now reset, because we want to send this flower through on Pretty Peacock. So there's our stamped bits and our flowers for our card. Isn't that cool, the detail that it cuts right on those flowers? I'm just loving this. All right, one more crank here. Get this guy out of there. This little flowery sprig. It's so delicate, but look how easy it just came out of there, like butter. All right, we need the whole green stem and leaves for our flowers. Let's give it a crank. All right, and there's our flower and Pretty Peacock. So we've got the stems and leaves, and then we're gonna piece this together to make white flower on a green stem. So let's bring in both of those pieces, and I'm just gonna pop out the detail here. So there's some little detail in the full front bloom. We're gonna do that with the white one too. Just pop those out. And then we've got the little side view, kind of like a bell. All right, let's trim. We're gonna trim the stem away from the white one. Add a little bit of liquid glue. These little details in the flower are slits that are cut. Too much glue and it'll go right through the back and you'll glue it to the table. We don't want to do that. So just go really light on the glue, and then we'll just rotate and find our place. There it is. Same with our side view. Cut off the stem. Add a little bit of glue, just a couple of dots, a little swipe. You don't need a lot. Isn't that beautiful? All right, our card. Let's get our sample back in here. And let's get our card back in here. Going to adhere the front circle with dimensionals. Now you want to be very careful. You don't want to glue your card closed here. So put your dimensionals on your card front, carefully placed so that your circle will cover, but nothing goes past the fold. You don't want to glue your card closed at this point. Remove the dimensionals, add this kind of centered where you like it. Leave enough room for that bloom to go off the top. Now we've got the placement for our outside circle. Our inside circle needs to be hidden behind. So what I like to do is use my liquid glue because I've got room to twist or slide a little bit. I'm going to open my card and I'm going to take my stamped side. Make sure my sentiment is as close as I can guesstimate. I'm holding it, I'm closing, I'm lifting. Now it's in perfect placement, but we do have to level out our greeting. So we can do that with the liquid glue. Level out the greeting, double check. You don't want to see that white circle from the front of the card. And the liquid glue gives you some time to do that. All right, now for our botanicals. We need the ones that we cut for our background first. Be careful, don't go too wild on the glue at the ends of these because they're going to go out past the circle a little bit. Just a little dab. Keep it all kind of close to the stem. And then we're going to add one. And then this guy too. This one's going to go off the edge a little bit here at the top, so no glue all the way to the end. Isn't that pretty? And then this one will go just from the very bottom of the flower there. And then we're going to add dimensionals underneath the flower. So just get the stems and leaves and get them where you like them. Now we're going to piece in just a little bit of dimensional to further secure these guys. Got some mini dimensionals here, and I'm going to put one right behind my flower. Give a little lift, and then I think we could fit a whole one. I've got a half, but I think we could fit a whole one. So I'm going to turn my card. Got a dimensional, it's sticky on both sides. I'm going to lift my flower here, add the dimensional on the very end of the flower, and then let it kind of fall back naturally where I want it, and then press. Oh, so pretty. Love it. All right, so we've got our front. We've still got our sentiment and our embellishments to do, but then we've got our inside. Let's move to our inside before we sentiment and embellish. On our inside, we have the Love You Much on our rectangle. And we'll glue that to the right, inside centered. And then we have this fun little sprig that we cut. You could have stamped this right on there. You didn't have to die cut it, but when I was doing the design, I had this sitting cut. And so I said, let me just glue it in there. So then that's how I did the original. So that's how I did the copy, but you could stamp each piece there on the inside. Now our last piece of designer series paper is 2.5 by 4. And we're going to find center on this one. Stampin' Up! Has centering rulers both on the grid paper and on the Simply Score tool. So finding center is really easy, even if you're center challenged like I am. Let's make sure that the text on this is the right side up. We're going to find 0 on our centering ruler. This is 4 inches, so we want each end at 2, and we'll mark. Then we can punch a little circle, or not really a little circle, a big circle. I've got a 2-inch circle, and we're going to punch a little bit less than halfway. And you can tell halfway because the punch dips in at halfway. So center, and then almost to that spot where it dips in, cut. Now, going to make a little pocket in our card for a gift card. So for your gift card pocket, you're going to want to do a very thin bead of glue along the edge of your card stock or of your designer series paper here. The idea is just a little bit of glue at the very edge so that you get a pocket and not a mess. If you're feeling like it's a little thick somewhere, then just use the nozzle of the bottle. Just kind of spread it out. That'll help the pocket to be adhered on all the edges, all the way to the edge, and it'll keep your glue from oozing out the side too much. All right, so inside here, we'll pop our little pocket. And we want to give this a second to dry before we go jamming anything in there. There's our cute pocket. Let's get back to our sentiment on the front. Happy birthday, my dear. And we're going to dovetail the ends. I like to use my retired tailored tag punch for this. You can use a square punch for this. You can use scissors for this. You would use a square punch exactly the same way. Just put your strip in at the corner of your square punch, and that works. And of course, you can scissor it. That looks a little bit far from the happy. Let's give it a bit of a haircut. There we go. Now we're going to add our ribbon and our sentiment at the same time here. I've got a piece of jute trim here. This is the 2023-2025 in color jute trim. And I'm going to take the Moody Mauve, and it's probably about 10 inches of jute that I have here. But I'm just going to go ahead and kind of spool some off. And you'll notice that the piece that I was using and the piece coming off the spool are very different pieces. That's because this jute trim is kind of thick. I'd say it's probably about 1/8 of an inch. It's thick and it's wily and it's a little rough. It's got a rustic texture to it, but I'm loving the delicate look that you get when you untwist it. So what I like to do, so I don't split the ends and fray them out really bad, so I grab this. It's got 3 strands in here, so I'll go about 1.5 inches or so from one end, and I'll twist it the opposite way. So the opposite way of the way it's all twisted together. There's 3 strands, and I'm going to take one out, and you'll see that these ends pretty well still stay tight. They don't completely unravel at the end. And then you can just do the same thing as you go. Just twist and pull off that one strand, and then move down, twist. And what this does is it allows you to take it out without too much disruption of the fibers that make up this, because they are really kind of rough and fuzzy, and you don't want it to all unravel. So that's the method that I found. And now you'll see you've got 2 more pieces here that'll untwist real easy just with a little rotate and pull. And then you also can keep it from knotting up on the end as it untwists, because you can get a really good knot or tangle here, and then you've ruined your pieces instead of unraveled them into useful, beautiful little strands. All right, so I'm going to put 2 strands aside and take 2 strands, make a bow. So we're going to do loop, swoop, tuck, and pull. And we want a nice big bow. Now, if you're finding that yours is a little too thick, or it's not spooling together nicely, you can tie 2 separate bows and just stack them. If it's looking like it's too tangled and still too chunky, you're looking for that delicate twist. So if you're having trouble with the pieces that you're using and it looks real chunky, you don't want that look, then just tie the two bows separately. All right. All right, we've got our bow. Let's put it with a glue dot. I like to pick up the glue dot on the back of the knot. This one's pretty, this is a pretty substantial knot. Just kind of scrunch up, pick up, put it right where the sentiment is going to go over. Love it. You can give it a little haircut now if it's too long. Looks good. Our sentiment is going to go on with 2 levels. So we need some liquid glue where it's going to stick to our circle. And so you could go ahead and just put that there if you like. And then we need a dimensional where it's going to need support where it goes over the knot. So we got our dimensional. We're going to add our sentiment here. You don't want your sentiment to go past this fold. Nothing should go past this fold. You can go past the edges on all the other sides, just not this fold, otherwise your card won't open and close. So get that lined up and adhered. Make sure it's level before your glue grabs. And there is our ribbon and sentiment. I'm loving the new jute twine twisted. Twisted up, it's a little bit bulky. I think it'd be good for some of your masculine projects. But if you're going for a little bit more feminine look here with this pink, I'm liking untwisting it. Now, these are the adhesive back sequin trio. These are gorgeous with the Masterfully Made Designer Series paper. And we are going to just add a few of these pretty peacock sequins. I am going to go here and here. So I've got 2. And then I'm going to do a big one coming out here, kind of like a triangle. And then I'm going to do 2 more. Maybe, I don't know where on this one. Maybe still over there. It's a little crowded with the ends of the ribbon. I don't know. I am dingle challenged, but I think that works. What do you think? Think that works? Maybe I think it'll have better balance if I try to tuck this one under the sentiment just by the edge. Maybe bring it in a little bit just by the edge. There we go. Definitely done. All right, there it is. Happy birthday, my dear. Wishing you a little extra happiness because you're you. Love you much. And there's our little gift card pocket. Isn't that so sweet? It's a simple fun fold with a lot of impact. If you've got any questions about the project, you can email Marisa at kitchentablestamper.com and reach out to that email address if you've got questions about joining. If you'd like to join Stampin' Up, you can head over to marisaalvarez.stampinup.net and click join. You can shop there also. All right, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed the fun folds, and I'll see you in the next video.